G'day, I'm Author-NZ. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As suggested by somebody who'd watched a couple of my videos, I'm going to do a series of videos, probably 3 or 4, on my take on first aid, and specifically first aid kits, how to make your own, where to get the stuff, what's useful and what isn't, right? Now you can buy a first aid kit virtually anywhere, Repco, Supercheap, Kmart, Walmart. Your supermarket probably sells them. What's in them? There's some useful, there's some useful little bits and pieces. There's scissors and tweezers and sticky plasters and Panadol and things like that. None of that stuff's going to save your life. Now, firstly, I want to talk about me, right? I'm a mechanic. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not an EMT. I'm not an ambulance officer. I'm not a paramedic. I'm a mechanic. I have been a Coast Guard volunteer, and in that capacity I did a search and rescue marine medic training course, right? It was a weekend, it's a first aid course, but it's a very practical and a very comprehensive first aid course. The guy that ran it was previously attached to the NZSAS in Afghanistan, so he'd seen some stuff, he'd been around the block a few times and he really knew what he was talking about. So that was the guy that trained us in our marine medic course. It was a weekend course. It was 2 days, 2 full days, and I learned a lot. I really did. We did basic first aid, we did assessing the patient, we did basic triaging, we did also CPR, we did oxygen administration because we carry oxygen on our Coast Guard boat, and we did training on using defibrillators, right? Defibrillators are something that's becoming more and more common in various airports around the world, even around the country, I believe. In certain communities, Lion Foundation, Rotary clubs, things like that have purchased small defibrillators and have placed them in strategic positions in a lot of communities in our towns. An AED is an automated external defibrillator. They're very easy to use. You open it up and it starts talking to you and telling you what to do. So don't be afraid. If you see somebody collapse in front of you and there is a defibrillator there, use it, grab it, open it up, and it will basically it'll tell you what to do. So that was really good. Well, the result of the course caused me to go home and have a look at my first aid kit. Okay, I have one in the car and I have one in the house, and the little plastic things that you buy. And I looked in there and I thought, you know what, there's nothing in here that's going to save a life. So I stripped them back, I bought some supplies, and I put together my own first aid kits. And I say kits because there are different purposes for them. I've got one in the car, I have a boat, so I have a really comprehensive one that goes in the boat. I'm going to show you them all briefly in this introduction, and then I'll go through each one. What I did realise was, and this is what's important about first aid, is there was nothing in any of those first aid kits that would save your life, except the little instruction book that teaches you how to do CPR. If you have to read the book to learn how to do CPR, it's probably going to be too late. So my advice is go and do a first aid course. Do a St John's course, or do the one that I did was run by Yacht Lifeline, which is a company based in Auckland. They're marine specialists, but the course was awesome. Go and do a first aid course. Learn how to do CPR. It's really, really important that you know what to do if somebody collapses in front of you. And this isn't just for prepping or survival. This is your everyday at work. Chances are your workplace may put you through a course if you show an interest. OSH demands that we have people that are confident first aiders at work, so talk to your employer, they may pay for you to go and do one. How bad's that? So do a course, do a good course. You may not learn how to use a defibrillator, you may not learn how to administer oxygen, you may not need to. You're not going to carry an oxygen bottle, you're not going to carry a defibrillator. They're 6 or 7 grand for a cheap one. But do a first aid course because it will give you confidence and it will give you the knowledge so that you can do something, and that's what's really important. If you see somebody collapse and you think, oh, CPR, you've seen it on TV, you've seen people talk about it, just start, just do something, because if you just stand there and look, if somebody stopped breathing and their heart stopped, they're dead. Okay, you can't make dead any more worse than it is. So do something, have a go. So do a course, and then put together your own specialised first aid kits for the activities that you do. Right, I have a boat, so I go out in the boat. I'm a shooter. I belong to a gun club. I'm a safety officer at the gun club. One of the things that I realised when I did my course, my medics course, it gave me a lot of skills and a lot of knowledge. And I also accepted a lot of responsibility. So when I put my first aid course for my boat together, I figured, well, if I'm out on the water and somebody needs help, because I've been given the skills, I've also been given the responsibility to help. So, I put together a really good first aid kit or emergency kit that goes on the boat. If we go camping, we take the boat. So that first aid kit pretty much goes with us if we're on holiday, if we're camping, if we're boating, if we're fishing, if we're skiing, if we're at the lakes. So I have a first aid kit that goes in my shooting bag, and it's for a different purpose. And I'll get to that. I'll go through the ones that I've got. Alright, so that's my overview on first aid kits. I'm going to do a quick overview on first aid, and then I'll go through the kits themselves. Alright, thanks for watching. Keep an eye on Author NZ.